Mark Lawrence Bazan.
And I'm Virginie Bacacas.
We are from grade 12.
So this video is only intended for academic purposes only.
And we're not professional to critique your papers. However, this is academic purposes.
So what are you waiting for? Let's get started!
Before we will start our critic review, we would like to give some background knowledge about the research. So research is a systematic inquiry that investigates hypotheses, suggests new interpretations of data or texts, and poses new questions for future research to explore.
So in research paper, there are several parts or major parts of it, such as the chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, and chapter 5. So in chapter 1, it is composed of several parts, such as the rationale, which compose of introduction or the background of the study, the purpose of the study, the theoretical framework, the conceptual framework, the statement of the problem or the research questions, and the research hypotheses, the scope and limitations, and lastly is the definition of terms.
In Chapter 2, which is the review of related literature, there are 5 parts: foreign studies, local studies, foreign literature, local literature, and the synthesis of the study.
In chapter 3, which is the research methodology, composed of 7 parts. The first one is the research design. Second, the research environment or the local of the study, sources of data or the respondents of the study, the sampling procedure, the data collection or the data gathering procedure, research instruments, and the statistical treatment. And in the chapter 4, it is only consists of one part, which is the results and findings. In research in chapter 4, it is all about the presentation and the analysis of the interpretation of data. Lastly, the chapter 5.
So the chapter 5, it is all about the conclusion, the summary, and the recommendation of the study.
So let's get started.
So let's begin with our critic review of a research paper. So this is the chosen research paper that we get from the academia, published on May 2016. So the title of the research is The Effects of Playing Dota 2 and Academic Performance Among Grade 8 Students of Mindanao State University at Naawan Integrated Developmental School. So let's begin our research critique. So let's see first the research structure. So as what you can see in the research structure, chapter 1, so first is the acknowledgement. So of course in doing a research or in conducting a research, of course you need first to have an acknowledgement. You need to be acknowledged of the persons which helps you to solve or to conduct this study.
In doing also research, you have to get an approval sheet. In case of doing the legalization of your research, which is you need to have your subject teacher to have this kind of research.
This paper is called the letter of intent, which will be used in conducting. So
There you go, the introduction.
So this is the chapter 1 of their research. So as what you can see in the structure of it in rationale, so the structure is not correct because how do I said so? So in research, the structure or the proper structure of the research is it should be justified and the font size of it should be 12. So as what you can see,
The font size was just only 10, and it is not justified. It must be justified like this.
that should be the proper structure of the research. So in this case, their structure is not proper. It's not accurate.
Yes. So as we can see, the spacings are not equal. So let's see what was their spacing here. So it is double spacing, while here below there was no spacing at all. So in research, you must have a double spacing, not just single, but it must be double spacing.
And also, the structure must be consistent in doing the research.
From chapter 1 down to your conclusion and bibliography. So,
So as you can see, they didn't include their purpose why they conduct this research. So in research, it is important to include the purpose of the study. Next.
so the statement of the problem. I don't see any problem with it at all, but the structure itself.
Yes.
So next is the objective of the study. Their objective of the study is correct because it is composed of two parts, which is the general objectives and the specific objectives. So you should always have an objective on your research for you to be able to be guided on what should you do and how will you be able to conduct your research study.
In doing also the research, you have to have significance of the study. What is the purpose of your study? What is the significance of it? And I guess
So the significance of the study, it should be significant to all, like significant to your parents, to your teachers, to the students itself, and to the researcher itself. So in their case, it is only significant to the parents and to the teachers. They didn't include the significance of their research to the students and the significance of their study to the researcher itself.
as we have mentioned a while ago, the title of the research is about the effects of the Dota 2 in and the performance of grade 8 students. So it should have to have significance in the students also, not to the parents. It also include the parents, but also include the students itself.
So the scope and limitation of the study, it is correct, but as what I told earlier, the structure itself is
Must be justified. So in the definition of terms, as you can see, there's no problem at all because the researchers already included the definitions of every terms.
so. I will give you a tip in doing a definition of term. So, in doing a definition of term, you should only include those unknown words or unfamiliar words to you. Those familiar words should be eradicated in your research because it is already familiar to you. What you need to include those importance words and those unfamiliar words so that the researchers or the readers of your research paper will be guided on what is the meaning of that word. So in the previous chapter, as what it's shown, they didn't able to put or to follow the two parts of it, which is the conceptual framework and the theoretical framework. So it is very important to put it in your research so that your research will be valid and you were able to know what are the factors that affecting your research. So now let's proceed to the chapter 2, which is the review of related literature. So in review of related literature or in the chapter 2, it has 5 parts, which are the foreign studies, local studies, foreign literature, and the local literature, and lastly is the synthesis of the study. So let's see if they were able to do it. So, as what you can see in the research paper, they were not able to follow those parts. They just give the students engagement and social effects. So they just put the effects of the DOTA in the academic performances of the students, but they are lacking of informations regarding on the different literatures and data that they should be put on in the chapter 2. So their chapter 2 is invalid.
Okay, after we view the chapter 2, let's now proceed to chapter 3, which is the methodology. Okay, in chapter 3, there are research design, subject of the study, gathering of data, and the questionnaires that will be presented. As you can see, there are no problem about this chapter. However, there is the structure of it is not justified, and also there are lacking of the information in the subject also, and the gathering of data is okay. It's okay.
They were able to put the questionnaires, so it is correct. The structure of it is correct. The data of it is correct because they were able to put it all. So next chapter will be the chapter 4. So in chapter 4, it talks about or it entails about the results, discussion, and the findings of the study. So as what you can see in the research paper, so it is all stated there. All the data that they were able to gather was all pasted in their paper.
So in chapter 4, it is important to include the percentage or the results of the survey of your research, because it serves as your evidence that you did conduct your research.
Yes, so that your research will be valid. So let's now focus to the last chapter of the research, which is the chapter 5, which entails the summary, conclusions, and recommendations. So as what you can see in their research papers, and based on our critics, so they were able to put the summary of their research, they will be able to give a conclusion of it, and they will be able to give a recommendation letter regarding in their research. So in the chapter 5, we don't see any problem with it at all. So the last one will be the bibliography. So we have a certain problem with it. So there are certain procedures or there are certain style guide that we should follow in doing a references or in doing the bibliography. There is this so-called style guide, which is the APA citation style guide and the MLA citation style guide. So in their case, they didn't able to follow that certain guidelines. So, and also their references is only 1 references. So in doing a research, there should be 10 references. 5 references from the book and 5 references from the internet. And in their case, they will be able to gather only 1 references from the internet. So their bibliography is not correct, the structure of it is not correct, and the reference citing guidelines is lacking. So that would be all, and that was the end of this research paper. So before we will end this critic review or this video, we would like to give our opinions, comments, and recommendation based on the research paper that we made a critic review. So I am not this perfectionist, but well, as for me, their research paper is invalid because of their structure. They were not able to follow the right structure, the proper structure, or the proper style guide of doing or publishing a research paper.
So for me, their research is not correct because their size fonts were not the same. Some sizes are numbered 10 and some sizes are numbered 12. And their structure were not justified, and their references were wrong because it is
So in doing research, you have to be consistent to what you have gathered, and also be sure to be valid on that particular research that you have.
So overall, so if they were able to conduct another study or another research, they should always follow the proper procedure in conducting it, the proper structure, and they should also know what are the informations, data, or variables that they need to put in the research paper so that their research should be validated. So that would be all.
Thank you.